Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session. So today we are going to be talking about an extension we've been working on for the past few months for working with Neo4j in VSCode. So first and foremost, who am I? I'm a senior software engineer at the DevTools team. I have been working at Neo4j for the past 3 years, and I've been working in this set of problems related to language smarts for the past 2 years. So without any further ado, let me jump into the demo. So first, some bit of context. We are going to have a Nora free instance, and you can create that from Nora. And the data we are going to play with if I can connect to this, is the one that you can find on the guides to the bottom right. More data sets, social network analysis, which is Stack Overflow data. So I hope everyone's familiar with what Stack Overflow model is. Users get to go on the platform, ask questions, answer questions, leave comments for answers, tag their own questions with certain topics. So you can load the same data that I'm playing with that way with that guide button. So now that's the context. Let me copy the URL for this database and let's jump into VS Code. So let's imagine in VS Code we have a Python file. It doesn't have to be in VS Code, but you have a Python file. You are working with some Neo4j queries. In this case, we have a query that we want to do something, and we are using the Neo4j driver to connect to the database and to extract some information. Let us connect to our Aura database. For security purposes, I've masked the user and password via environment variables. So we are just gonna get some records and print them on the screen. Let's just say, for example, we are in the case that we want to get some information for the CyberSum user, and we want to run a query that gets aggregated by month. How many questions were answered by him and on what topics? But if you start working with Neo4j, you find that, yeah, you send this query string through the driver, but then how do you craft this query? Probably you will have to go and copy this back to workspace. That tool we were just showing that you can access from Aura, and then you will have to jump between workspace and VS Code to craft that query correctly. So basically, this is where our Neo4j plugin can play a big part of your development flow. So for installing it, you just go to the sidebar to extensions, and you pick Neo4j for VS Code. You just click install, as easy as that. And once you have that installed, you get this beautiful Neo4j icon, which lets you connect to a database. So let's do that. The URL for that database and the password. There we go. We are connected to the database already, easy peasy. And we already get some information about that database. As we said, this is a Stack Overflow model. So we have all the things that you would expect to find in a Stack Overflow database: questions, users, answers, comments, etc. So first thing this plugin can do for you, let's get that. out is to give you some syntax highlighting on some cipher. And the reason why we want to do that is if we try to run this file, for example, from here, we sorry, I didn't save that. Yeah, we will find some errors. And yeah, this query doesn't work. So first bit of help you can get from the plugin is if you annotate any string with a comment that says cipher, either that way or that way, then you will get some beautiful syntax highlighting. And from the syntax highlighting, you can already appreciate some bits of the query that might be wrong. Like in this case, yeah, of course, we don't have a pattern, but this seems strange because match and return, which are keywords, are in a different color. So of course, this includes a typo because where has an H there. But let's work on the query a little bit more. And what you can do is select the query and the extension will let you create a cipher file that we have more features on, because inside, embedded in other languages in Python or in other languages we support, you can only get the syntax highlighting, but you wouldn't get errors, for example, or completions. So we can open that in a separate file. And yeah, like let's start working on this query. Like first of all, we want to match on users, right? I'm getting the completions already, but I can also get snippets. And yeah, we want users that have provided answers to questions. And we want the tags for those questions as well. Right? Easy peasy. Now, yeah, what's the problem here? Did you mean where? Of course I did. So the extension gives you syntax errors. And the thing about this is errors are hierarchical. So to be able to give you more semantic errors, like these ones, in this case, variable u is not defined, Q is not going to be defined, T is not going to be defined, then you must have fixed all the syntactic errors, which is pretty normal in this kind of tools. But let's fix what's still wrong with the query. So for CyberSum, of course, this variable doesn't exist, but if we complete, if we trigger the completions from this, we can get useful suggestions that fix that part of the query. And what I'm still missing, as we said, is aggregating by month. So let's do that. You need to be familiar with it, but in Epoch, there's a method called date format. But of course, I'm getting useful completions along the way. I can't even get information about the signature already and what the function does. So we are familiar with it, but we know with date format, we could get a date which is expressed in seconds since epoch and convert it to the month. So truncate to the month when that happened. Cool thing about this plugin, it also gives you type errors. So of course, I'm not expecting a string in that first argument. I'm expecting an integer, and signature help actually would also tell you that time needs to be an integer, as I'm seeing there. So from the question, we want the creation date, and then we want seconds since epoch, and then the format, if we want to truncate and get only months, can be something like that. Cool. So what else can you do from the section? It would be cool if you could actually fire the query against, we are connected to the Neo4j database, so against that database. By the way, you can change what database you are connected to using the menu. So you just need to highlight that and say run Cypher statements, and with the results in a result pane. And that result pane can even contain several statements. So I could do something like, I don't know, create another tag that doesn't exist. So if I fire several statements, I will get results for each one of those. So for the first one and for the second one. So that's it. We've crafted our query using our extension. The cool thing about this is we also provide support for other languages. So you could go into C#. Every language, we basically maintain a driver for is supported. So you can get support for strings in C#, F#, Go, Java, JavaScript, TypeScript, etc. So that's the end of the demo. Let me go back to the presentation now. Talk to you about a few cool things. So future plans for this. Queries can accept parameters in our language, in Cypher, but we don't support them at the moment. There are plans for supporting those. There are plans to add query formatting to this extension, so you can pre-format your queries. There are plans to give you better type information when you are hovering over a variable and you want to get what label or what relationship type that variable is. And there are plans to improve the result pane, like give you better visualizations, better table view, etc. So lots of features. Lastly, please give some love to our repo, which lives under github.com/neo4j/Cypher language support. 5 bucks, try it out, or leave us a star, so I don't have to leave a star in my own repo, please. And yeah, that's all from me.